I'll pick him for you there. I got that one.
Right. Hi to the audience over there. Welcome to our first Wellbeing for Women podcast with myself, Laura, from the Avery Tree, and an amazing guest, Annette Jackson, who is an accredited medium and Reiki master and teacher, my Reiki master and teacher. And we're going to go into a bit of an interview with you in a moment. I just wanted to sort of outline what this podcast was about, really. It's about wellness for women, and I think a lot of women don't take the time out for themselves because we feel guilty a lot of the time to have that you time and to come back to who you are. So this is why I wanted to do this. We're going to go over a few topics like exploring spiritual awakening and power of meditation and understanding mindfulness as well, because I think a lot of people don't really understand what it is. But first of all, I got some questions for you. So hi, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to do something different, isn't it?
I know, it's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by the way, big shout out to Redbridge, because these are beautiful studios, aren't they?
And we've got the purple theme going on, which is super exciting. He said, what colour do you want? And I gave Laura a look and she knew it was going to be the purple.
we knew. I was telling you the other day when I was going to dye my hair purple, but it didn't come in time.
Aww.
So we're all about the purple though, aren't we? We know. If you know, you know.
The purple vibes.
If you know, you know. So obviously I know you. And I know, I kind of know the gist of some of these answers that you're going to say. But for those that don't, can you share with us your journey into becoming like a spiritual medium and Reiki master?
Of course I can. So one of the things I always say is that I never knew that I was a medium. And sometimes when I say that, people laugh. And I go, no, really, I never expected to do this as my work. You know, we go back to being at school and thinking what we're going to do and what courses we're doing through GCSEs and things like that. I was always very creative, always aware of spirit, but I never knew I would do it as a full-time role. This is my job now. I work full-time for spirit, with spirit, and with the Reiki, like you say. So that journey unravelled for me around 15 years ago. Always been aware of the spirit world since being a little girl. Thought everybody was. I thought everybody saw spirit, spoke to spirit, got the guidance from spirit. You know, I know a lot of people do.
If only we could all do what you do, Annette.
I do think that everybody is or can be aware of spirit if they want to be. So yeah, my journey has been such a learning curve. It really has. And the two subjects we're covering today, like spirituality and well-being, they both cross over so much for me. You know, my journey has helped me so much personally with things like depression, the mindfulness, hormones, the things we go through, being a mum. I'm a special needs mum as well. And that's where the Reiki journey came in for me, learning Reiki to help my son. Again, never expected to do it as a job role. It's just been part of the journey of things unravelling. And sometimes we don't know where things are going to lead us to.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually I thought I did, but clearly I didn't know that Reiki just came to you. You never thought you were going to do it as a profession, actually. No, and it just sort of evolved into this. Yeah. And you are known now in the Northwest for being, you know, the one to go to.
I do love the Reiki journey. And just from going for one treatment, I didn't know what it was in around 2014 at the time. I was not in the best place. Had one Reiki treatment for, I want to find out what happened. Why do I feel so much better? I wonder if it'll work for my son, who's called Jamie. And practiced after that with family and friends, and people became my guinea pigs because I love the difference it made for people. Then led me to be a Reiki practitioner. My first job doing that properly was in Bolton. I rented a little room at a coffee shop, and I teach Reiki now. I love it. It's become my life, and the mediumship side as well runs alongside for me.
It's amazing. That journey is amazing. And I might go off piece a little bit here because I think it's important in regards to if you're okay with sharing your sort of difficulties back then.
Absolutely.
As to why, because I think it's important to share our stories, and we do that through. I think people when they think of Reiki and they come to have Reiki, they just think, oh, it's just the hands on, da 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 da. It's so much more than that, because we talk to them as well, and we unfold, and they feel so safe and protected. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are going through a lot of stuff, not just women, but we are here talking about women. So yeah, if you want to sort of, if you're okay with sharing that,
I feel like it's so important to share as well, so people can see. And sometimes it finds people when they're a bit lost. So looking back to my life in 2014, Jamie was probably about, well, he's born in 2007. So I'm not the best with maths, so you can do that one, Laura. So, and at the time, going on for a few years, there was just that struggle going through the diagnosis stage, playing the mum role, forgetting myself completely, saying that I was fine when I wasn't. You know, sometimes people say, "Are you okay?" And you go, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm fine." I was struggling with panic attacks. I really wasn't myself. I look back at pictures of myself and I can see in my eyes that I weren't feeling that well, but I just acted like I was. And I think a lot of people do this. When I share with people on my Reiki training days, a lot of women can recognise just saying, "Yeah, I'm fine," and more being bothered about everybody else and playing the mum role. And when you've got a child with special needs going through like the diagnosis process and fighting for them, it took over. That became my life. I'd completely forgot about who I was, my own well-being. Things like the panic attacks were really frequent. I just assumed there was something wrong with my heart, because I didn't think stress and things like that could cause an impact on you in that way. I just completely wasn't aware of it, completely closed off to it.
That's like the metaphysical, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you think, "Oh God, I've got like a heart problem." Actually, you haven't. There's other stuff going on, and that's a whole other discussion.
Absolutely.
But that's really interesting because a lot of people
to go for my Reiki treatment
because Reiki helps, doesn't it?
And it was that one treatment I came out and my chest felt really calm, and I thought, "Oh, something's happened." The lady just hovered over me at that time as well when I had that treatment. Didn't have a clue really what Reiki was. But that's when the journey began of me looking after me and realising and letting go of some things. You know, sometimes we blame ourselves for things, experiences we've had, not speaking our truth, realising who we are. So yeah, the journey began for me. I learnt Reiki in 2015 with a beautiful teacher called Jane, did all my learning with her. And yeah, it's led me to where I am now.
So your inspiration then, to pursue this path, I think Jamie's got a lot to do with this, actually, and he is just so adorable. But yeah, I think he, has got
when I learnt Reiki, I remember having the brainwave of it's worked for me and I feel calm. I wonder if it'll work for Jamie. When I went to do my Reiki training, that was just what was in my mind. I'll just see if it works for him as well, which it absolutely has. Amazingly, I just started including it in. And then his first day at high school, he came home and asked me for some Reiki. So it's always been something that we've just included with him, to help him with like managing his own emotions. Yeah.
And can you share with the guys that are listening as to what it is that you fought so hard for with Jamie, as to what he's been diagnosed with now, and how Reiki has really actually supported that transition, and with you as well, and the whole family?
Yeah, totally. So Jamie was nonverbal until he was around 4 or 5 years old. And used to really struggle, have a lot of meltdowns. His diagnosis is atypical autism. So it does struggle in a lot of ways. Communication used to be one of the biggest ones. As Laura will know, she's met him. He doesn't struggle with communication anymore. He loves to talk. He loves to ask questions.
Oh, he's a numbers guy.
He's got a magic trick. He will tell you what day of the week you were born on if you tell him your birthday. So I just gradually started to include the Reiki in different ways around the home. Maybe if he was sat on the sofa next to me, I'd put my hands at the side of him. Or in the bath, I would use the Reiki symbols when he was going to bed. If he was having a meltdown when he was younger, it would go from, say, an hour to 10 minutes. And I would know it was just gradually making that difference and bringing that calmness in. And in being able to regulate his own emotions, he will put his hand like on his own heart now, do his own breathing. So it's something that we've just included in as he's been growing up. So yeah, that's where my journey began.
That's incredible.
And that was my reason why.
And he comes in, doesn't he? He's like quite a massive part of your Reiki sort of journey, and because he'll come in and meet your clients.
He does.
He'll come in. He loves it, doesn't he? He's such a sweetheart as well.
Everybody knows him. He's like a little celebrity.
And your daughter as well, she's getting sort of into. Did you not tell me actually a while ago that she was feeling that she had some sort of a gift and she wanted to explore it with you? Am I right? And
she's asked me to learn Reiki,
right?
Which is amazing, because there has been some struggles with my Izzy around her own mental health as well. So we have included the spiritual side, which sometimes she's thought was a little bit weird. But now, like with crystals, she's loving them, looking into things, meditation, mindfulness, and just realising. But she has had some experiences with the spirit world herself, absolutely.
Well, we're going to get onto the spirit world soon. But for those that don't or who are unfamiliar with Reiki, can you just sort of outline what it is? Because I think a lot of people...
Yeah, it's the word sometimes, isn't it? Reiki, when I had it, I was thinking I haven't got a clue what it is.
Oh, I didn't understand it either. And it's weird how you just... I think I actually learned how to deliver Reiki before I even went for a session, which was really odd.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people think, oh, do I get naked on the bed? Do I do this?
I think because a lot of people do massage and Reiki or reflexology and Reiki, they just think, oh, it's a massage.
Totally. It ain't. Well, it's a massage for your soul.
Yeah.
That's what we can say.
Yeah,
But yeah,
massages your energy. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to sort of... explain to the guys, if they've never really heard of it, what it is.
Yeah, so I always explain Reiki as energy healing. And it brings in such a sense of like calm and balance, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. A lot of people have experiences when they have Reiki. So it works very much. I always describe as balancing and bringing in what the person needs. And that may be different for everyone who has it. Sometimes just bringing in that peace within the mind. For me personally, I deal with a lot of clients with grief. So it sort of crosses over with the spiritualist side and the Reiki. So sometimes it can be the heart healing that they need. So it works very much on the chakra system, bringing in that calmness, the balance. And I love people's different experiences when they have the healing as well, of what they feel, what they pick up from it. So it's a very healing treatment and just natural, which I love. I love the natural side of everything, really, looking more into it all.
Yeah, it's so lovely. And it's very much a non-invasive treatment, isn't it?
Absolutely. You keep your clothes on, you get tucked in, a nice blanket on, all tucked in, all comfortable.
All comfortable. And actually, the beauty of Reiki, I think, is if people are a bit uncomfortable with being touched, you can hover.
Yeah,
which you've
absolutely.
mentioned.
I know that links with
touch.
the special needs side for me. There was some young men who got some funding through the NHS, a group of teenagers, I think they were like 16, 17. And there was like a little pilot scheme. They had Reiki every week for about 6 weeks. So obviously some of them didn't want the touch, some of them did, depending on the century. So yeah, that's where you can hover or give the gentle touch and just include it in.
Yeah,
so,
and it's not just like you go to a session and you get straight on the bed. We as Reiki, because I'm a Reiki practitioner, a Reiki master and teacher as well, taught by your fair hands. But we have a really in-depth conversation because you don't know people's backgrounds. You don't know what's going on with them. And if you just lay there and put your hands on them and they didn't know what was coming, you've got to talk through the process with them, especially with...
important.
Absolutely. With any treatment, really. But this being a holistic treatment, it is more about the mind, body, soul to then try and heal the physical,
isn't it?
isn't it?
You let the person know what to expect. The first time I had Reiki, I didn't have a clue. And the lady was amazing. I had the best experience, but she never told me what was going to happen or when she was going to finish the treatment. So I was lay there with my eyes closed and some crystals placed on me, constantly thinking, because my anxiety was so bad, am I meant to open my eyes? Am I meant to get up? What time is it? I'm going to be late for the kids.
Yeah.
So just letting people know, because a lot of people struggle with anxiety and sometimes don't even tell anybody. We keep it quite private. It's like the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Oh,
we don't share. We just go, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. And often, sometimes we're just not.
No, and that's okay not to be, and we are going to sort of touch on that afterwards. So just moving on then to the spiritual mediumship.
Okay.
What is a spiritual medium?
Okay, so with me, I do describe myself as a spiritualist, a spiritual medium. So that is talking to your loved ones in the spirit world. There is psychic mediums as well who will read your energy, who will work with cards to give you guidance for your life. So I always say the spiritual side, the spiritualist is connecting to your loved ones in spirit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference then between like medium and psychic?
Okay.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah. Sometimes people use both. I do sometimes. I'll pick stuff up. So the psychic is more reading the person's energy, what's going on in their life.
Oh, I see.
Not necessarily it's being the spirit world sharing that with you. It'll be picking it up from their aura, from their energy, from their emotions, maybe what the cards are delivering. So there's quite a big difference. So if you are going to a psychic medium, if you want life guidance, say about your marriage or what's going on, that would be great. If you're wanting to speak to, say, your grandma in spirit and want to know that she's helping you or bringing that guidance in, it would be a spiritual medium that you would want to be seeing.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Right. I understand that now. So in regards to that then, how do you actually prepare? Like, how do you speak to spirit? Like, do you
I
just
talk
go
to spirit all the
knock,
time?
knock. Yeah.
Say hello to them.
How do they come to you? What happened? 'Cause
Yeah.
I would love to speak to spirit. Are you listening? But
I know
and
you've
I
actually
do.
had a reading with me before.
I've had a
haven't
few.
you?
Yeah, I've had a couple. But
Okay.
I don't know. Is it our own limitations? Because we do know that our brains, we only use a very, very small part of our brain, and this is scientifically proven. And I could get into a whole thing about science and spirit and everything like that,
the
because
energy doesn't dissipate after we pass. Yeah.
And I know, do we all have that ability? And if we do, how do we prepare for that? I think maybe that's one of the questions actually later on. But yeah, how do you prepare for that? And how did you learn that from being such a young age, thinking, oh, I'm just chatting to, my nana that passed away, and that's totally normal, or I've seen my dog or whatever, and that's totally normal. Then going, actually, this ain't normal, and I need to harness this because I feel like it's going to be a real benefit to others. So how do you prepare mentally?
Okay, so there is quite a few different courses I've done over the years. There's a place known as Hogwarts in Stansted, which is phenomenal. I've been there a few times, different courses. I've worked a lot with spirit in my own time, like working from home, doing my development online, things like that. So before someone comes for a sit-in, I just make sure I'm in that right frame of mind. So whether I've had a busy morning, what's going on, I'll just sit and make sure my mind is feeling calm, whether that be putting some meditation music on, making myself in that receptive state within my mind and energetically as well. And then I do a lot with intention when I work with the spirit world. So I will invite my guides in. I will invite the person's loved ones in. So if someone's booked in, say, at 10 o'clock, from 9:30 onwards, I'm preparing myself, making sure my mind's feeling calm, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm setting that intention, inviting their loved ones close. And often I'll feel the loved ones before they've even got to me. So often clients come and sit in my room. There was one last week, and her dad was already with me for about 10 minutes before she'd arrived. So it's me just being aware and receptive and to pick up on that energy.
This is wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is actually wild.
There's never a dull moment when you work with the spirit world.
Because I'm sure you've got a beautiful sort of like, what do you call it? Your Reiki room, or it's beautiful. It's in your garden.
We really need to name it, don't we?
Yeah, has it not been named yet?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
It does have a sign saying this is our happy space above the doorway, but we've not really.
Oh, it could be called the happy space.
Yeah.
That's nice. And it is so lovely. It's in your garden, this beautiful, it's just so nice. But how do you, can anybody do this? Because I've seen that you're doing some courses on developing your mediumship.
Yeah, I do teach mediumship development.
Without giving too much away, obviously, but how does one, is it similar to how you prepare? So quiet in the mind.
I share all the things that I've learned along the way and noticing them signs from the spirit world, opening up your clairs, opening up your mind and trusting and learning around like the confidence and what you feel and trusting. Sometimes what thoughts flow through, the difference between what's your thought and what is the spirit world.
Seriously, how do you do that? Because I've got
it does take practice because your mind will always throw things in and sometimes you think, I'm not going to say that. Or sometimes with clairvoyance, we've got all these different clairs, which are our spiritual senses. And the more you open up and unravel them, the Reiki for me really helped me. So I would first begin sharing Reiki treatments with people. I'd have the loved ones chatting to me whilst I was doing the healing for them, which is what got me doing the Reiki and the readings together, which a lot of people tell you not to do. I had a lot of mediums saying, oh no, pick one or the other. You can't be a medium and a healer. But for me, personally, they go hand in hand.
Why?
Yeah, I think they just want to sometimes fit in a box maybe. Either do this or do this. Pick one. Whereas for me, they do. Sometimes people come for healing and I'll feel a loved one with them. A lot of people come for both. They can book a Reiki and a reading. So sometimes they feel their loved ones when they're having healing, and that's a big part of the journey with grief as well.
Oh, massively.
So
massively.
For them to have that experience, to feel the loved one, to know that they're with them, to see them whilst they lay on the Reiki bed receiving the healing, to feel them, touch them. A lot of people feel, a lady the other day mentioned she'd felt someone touch her shoulder while she was in the session. She knew I was on her feet because she'd opened her eyes, so she knew that was her loved one, just saying, I'm here and I'm with you.
Oh,
So
there's
a lot
no
of people have
limitations,
their
is
own.
there? And I don't think I'm not so keen on some other mediums saying that. I think there's no limitations, and if people are open to it and you prepare them for that, obviously, if they think they're coming just for a Reiki and you go, oh, by the way,
absolutely, you always have to
your
check.
granddad's here, you have to check because they'll be like, what?
they'll be out the door. Yeah, absolutely. I think you find your own way, and I absolutely have with the spiritual journey, and I do that with my teaching. You know, we're all unique.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree with that. And how, just moving on to that, the benefits of this, we have touched on that quite a bit. But within women's overall well-being, I mean, I could talk till the cows come home about how it has benefited me and how it's actually benefited my clients as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a story, have you got, you know, is there anyone, I mean, you've been doing it for years, so you've come across a lot of people that have transformed, but is there anyone that's actually like stood out to you as being, wow, I didn't even see this coming? And you know, if you,
I'm not going to mention names because it's quite private, but I know she'll be okay with me sharing. So it was actually one of Jamie's primary school teachers, and she knew Jamie when he was non-verbal. You know, he's in high school now, and sadly last year her husband passed away, and she has had a reading with me once before, and I knew she was a little bit skeptic. So when her husband passed away, I'd reached out and I offered her to come and have a Reiki healing session with me. And when I want to do that, because I love to help people, I always say there's no charge. So I save a few sessions a month where people can come along. So I'd mentioned it to Jamie's primary school teacher to come and have a session with me. And she said when she's ready, she will. So she messaged me one day and she agreed to come along to have some healing. Quite skeptic. And I said, you know, there's no expectation. Just come and have a session, see how you feel. And her husband came through, so I told her what I'd picked up. There was a lot of emotion. It was really nice for me to be able to share that with her. And she's been back quite a few times. And with her journey of grief, there's been big changes with her. And she actually told me that she was quite skeptic. And when I used to go and pick Jamie up from school, you know, sometimes the teachers would be like, you know, there's Jamie's mum, the weird one, which is absolutely fine.
We don't mind this, do we, though?
No, not at all.
Be weird and wonderful people.
Yeah, it's like following that journey. And I know she's probably seen me, you know, make their changes in the years that she's known me. Quite recently she's learnt Reiki herself, which she never thought that she'd do, and it's helped her with her journey of grief to feel her loved one close. And I find that with a lot of people when they come and they're struggling with grief, Reiki helps them bring that connection in. So I feel like with that journey of the different emotions with grief, you know, Reiki alongside that for this lovely lady has made massive changes for her, and it's been beautiful just being a part of that journey. And she did say to me she wasn't sure whether it would work, but she just thought I'll just give it a go. And there's been amazing changes with her. So that's her time to have with her lovely husband when she has the healing. And now she's learned to do it herself. And she wants to share that with dogs, which is amazing.
Yay!
So that's
I was gonna touch on that because within the Reiki journey, we can learn how to do it on animals and children.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's so good. You've got to be careful, obviously, with animals. You've got to read their energy. So you've really got to be in tune with your own energy.
Horses, a lot of people use it for.
Well, horse whisperers.
Yeah, I've got a few people who have learnt Reiki, want to work primarily just with horses. Yeah, so that's brilliant. Yeah.
So if somebody this leads quite nicely actually onto the next thing that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Any advice for beginners? So if people are watching now and listening and thinking, "Oh my, this resonates so much with me, but I have no idea where to start." What would you recommend they do, or where would they start, or who would they talk to about it if they wanted to get into this sort of line of healing?
Okay. The probably best guidance I could give is book yourself a healing session. Find someone, or even if you know someone who's been recommended to you, book yourself in for a session. Maybe go along to a group session, maybe like around sound healing or a meditation evening, meeting like-minded people. There's lots of centres opening up, doing like women's evening, cacao nights. There's a wide array of different things. And I would say, just go along. You know, sometimes we put excuses there, oh, I can't do it that night, or maybe I shouldn't, or your nerves might hold you back. From the unknown, when I first went for Reiki, not having a clue what it was, I was nervous. The word, I thought, I don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes you almost feel quite vulnerable, you know, what's going to happen in this session. So I would say, book yourself in for something. And allow yourself that time to do that as well. And
if anybody wants to actually book in with yourself or me, there's going to be details, like links and stuff on here. Or just look on the internet. And like you say, there are so many more. There's so much more out there now for women.
Days, isn't there?
That it's not. And I think a lot of women think, oh, it's all like witchcraft.
Or it might be
and-
clicky. You
or
might think they'll all know
clicky,
each
and
other.
and actually it's completely the opposite, because it's
Yeah.
about sisters getting
Yeah.
together, supporting
Sister
each other.
circles
Sister
as well.
circles. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been to a lot of
Yeah.
those that support women with no ego attached to
Yeah,
it. And I think
absolutely.
once you're in that community, the rest just flows. And that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened for me, is that I knew I was a bit of a black sheep of the family. I
Yeah.
knew I was always attracted to crystals when I was a
Oh.
little girl. And I was like, what is this? I thought I was powerful. I thought I had a ring when I was a teenager going, oh, I could like heal things. And I was like, what is this? I was the only one of my friends to do that. My mum is
Like
convinced.
making the potions and things, isn't it?
Oh, I know,
When you're a
right?
little girl, putting the rose petals in.
Yes.
And, yeah, making
But-
your own perfumes and witchy spells.
Witchy
up.
spells. Oh, I
Yeah.
had an oracle book. It was velvet. It
Oh,
was
I love
beautiful.
that.
I remember. Watched The Craft. I was like, this is me. This
Yeah.
is all me. Mum thought I was swapped at birth. She was like, who are you?
Yeah, what's
But
going
then
on
we
here?
suppress it though, don't we?
Yeah.
We do. So if you have a feeling, or if you have if you're drawn to it, if your gut, as women, we need to go
Yeah,
with our guts and our
absolutely.
intuition
That's so true.
massively, don't we?
Often we can dismiss it and just think, oh, I'll go against that. And then it bites you on the arse.
It does bite you on the ass.
Yeah.
And I think go with it, because life's too bloody short to
Yeah.
be thinking
So true.
if, what's, buts. And we do suppress it, and I suppressed it for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you did,
Yeah,
but I suppressed it for a
not
long,
listening
long
to
time.
intuition, not listening to the things that, you may just get a feeling about something or a
Mhm.
situation. You think, oh no, I might be wrong, so I'll just not trust that. And then what you thought, like your gut feeling, that intuition is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to a friend of mine, and she's very much, she was actually sort of the light that I had to have in my life for me to understand actually that we are all powerful, we are beautiful, but it's down to us. And she said to me, I said, look, this was only a few years ago as well. I don't know anybody that's like me. And she was like, ask the universe.
Yeah.
Ask
Hooked
you.
up, don't you? One
Oh,
person
yeah.
that almost hooks you up, or you'll
Yeah.
find a link.
Absolutely. And it didn't feel weird for me to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask the universe to help me out. What happens? Something comes up on my Facebook,
Try.
and then we sort of met, and then it all sort
And
of
do you know more
unfolded.
woo-woo people now than
It's
you realise?
mad.
Yeah.
And it's like you found, I think and again, I'll go into this afterwards, but when you feel so isolated and alone, and it affects your mental well-being and your
Yeah.
mental health, and then you find a group of people that just get you and understand, and at our age as well, like I think you're younger than me, aren't you?
I'm 40 this year.
Are you 40 this
Yeah.
year? Oh, I'm 40.
Ah, yeah.
I thought you were younger than me.
Yeah, I'm going to be 40 in August.
Bim, bim, bim.
Yeah.
Yes. So when we get to our age,
Yeah.
it's amazing to find this sort of tribe, if
Yeah.
you will, because I think a lot of people, women especially, are looking for sort of community and ritual and connections.
And then we've got the whole perimenopause,
Oh.
menopause, hormonal stage going
Oh,
on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is important that we keep talking about this.
Totally,
and,
absolutely.
yeah, supporting
Massively.
each other.
Massively. And leading on to that then, how do you, because you give out so much of yourself and your time and your energy, how do you then recoup that? How do you look after yourself? Because it's very, very energy draining, I would imagine, doing the work that you do.
Yeah.
So how do you then go, whoa, okay, I need to look after my own well-being?
Yeah, because we still have all them different roles, don't we? All them different hats that we have to wear. For me, it's all about balance and making sure we've got that self-care. So I love going along to things like the spiritual side, and the well-being is my passion. It's something, not only do I do that for others, but I love to do it for me. So I love booking for things like facials myself, sound healing, women's circles, Reiki swaps, just immersing myself in that when I need to, and taking that time, having that balance, because that's so important. Just to take that time and honouring that time for yourself, because sometimes we feel guilty giving ourselves that time. So whether it's just a bath with your oils in, or something nice, some meditation before you go to bed, I'm one of these people that like to keep it real. It doesn't have to be a big ritual where you sit for 2 hours and do it. It might just be on your phone pinging YouTube on, you've had a really busy day, you get in bed, you've not had time to have any time for you put it on at bedtime.
I love
you
that.
do a bit of breathing.
I love that you said, keep it real. You don't have to do all this stuff. It's the little things. It's the free things.
Takes over. We have curveballs. We have the experiences. We have some days, you might be hormonal due on and you have a really bad emotional day. And it's just remembering them things that keep you feeling calm, isn't it? And including them in your everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just waiting 6 months till you absolutely feel shattered and burnt out to think, I'll book a Reiki today. It's doing them bits in between, which I always like to share with people to look after themselves. It's important.
And it's giving you yourself the time for that.
Yeah, and the permission, not thinking you have to be all them, wearing all them hats for other people. I need to be doing this for this person, this for this person, leaving yourself back in the queue.
Yeah.
We see it so often, people pleasing, don't we? And doing things for other people all the time and not for us. So, and, a day at home in your pyjamas can be self-care.
Oh, I love a pyjama day.
Putting your pyjamas on, just allowing yourself just to be, not having your bra on. It's just like the best thing ever. Yeah, it's a treat.
You know what? I've picked Ava up from school without a bra on. Yeah. Did I care? No.
No, it's just doing them bits sometimes. And it's simple. It doesn't have to be big rituals or expensive, because I think sometimes people may think there's barriers there. I can't afford that every month, or I can't afford to buy those crystals. I can't afford that. Do I have to have that certain type of incense to do that? You can just bring little bits in. Go on YouTube. It's accessible for everybody, these different changes that we can bring in for our own well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving on to that, like looking at mindfulness and understanding mindfulness. And thank you so much for asking all those questions. There's so much there that I just want to sort of take in, and it's wonderful. And I think I was looking at the definition, right, of mindfulness, and it says, the definition and importance of mindfulness: the practice of being aware of your body and feelings in the present moment. Thought to create a feeling of calm, mindfulness can be used to alleviate feelings of anxiety and depression. Now, for me, that little bit that says to practice of being aware of your body, mind, feelings, or body, mind, soul, in the present moment.
Yeah. It's important, isn't it?
It's so important.
And being honest with ourselves as well about how we feel. Because I know before I learnt Reiki, I was just telling big fat lies, going, I'm absolutely fine. I'd go to the doctors with my panic attacks and I'd go for all the tests and they'd ask me if I was stressed. No, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. Obviously, I wasn't. So sometimes we're not aware, sometimes we are. But being honest with yourself about how you feel is just crucial, isn't it?
But as women, it's inherent in us just to go, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'll keep going. You've just got to crack on.
Absolutely.
I'll carry all this weight, whatever's going on for everybody else, and I'll keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already mentioned there sort of practical advice to incorporate mindfulness in our daily routines, with the just doing the little bits.
Yes.
The little and often.
Small segments, can't they?
I'm really thankful for you to sharing your story on that as well. And I'll share a little bit about mine. And I had a good upbringing. I had a bit of a turbulent time with a relationship with my dad. And I always used to think that affected me and it was his fault. And I was growing up, I was so angry, Annette. I was so angry. It was, and people, I think now, when they meet me and they're like, how are you always happy? And how are you always this and that? And I was like, well, believe you me, I wasn't. And actually, I'm not always happy, but you try and, I've learned over the years, it's a practice, it's a journey, isn't it? To look at situations and try and find the good and try and find the silver lining in it.
Change in your mind, you see things from a different perspective entirely, don't you? Situations you've been through in the past, the blame, the judgment, the guilt, whatever it is, blaming others, carrying that emotion. Yeah, doesn't it?
It does. And I think you've got to look back at those situations. Totally important. And for me, I used to drink a lot, to the point where I went to the doctors. This was probably only, I think Ava was about, 2 or 3 maybe.
Like a coping mechanism.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And my dad was a drinker as well. Now we know now that alcoholism is hereditary or can be hereditary. There are scientific evidence to do that, to run in families. Yeah. So I noticed that, and there was an incident, and I shouted. So I was horrible to her. And that was the catalyst for me to go, I need some help here. This was before all of this, before I met you, before any of that.
Yeah.
Before I knew about Reiki, or before I really understood, how crystals can heal, etc. And I went to the doctor, and I just broke down. Absolutely broke down. And do you know what they said to me? And it was a woman as well. And I was really peeved at this. She was like, and I told her about, I was drinking quite a bit and and she didn't listen to what I was saying about the other stuff that was going on up here. And she said, I think we need to go to some sort of an AA. And I said, I am not an alcoholic. I am using that as a coping mechanism for other things that are up here. Yeah. So I was really peeved at that. And don't get me wrong, like holistic healing is working with medicine that's out there. That's not what we're about. We're not about like, all spiritual and just stay at that. It's about working as a team, as one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And definitely if something's going on with you, go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. We would never say that as a Reiki practitioner. Yeah. We would never say.
It goes hand in hand sometimes with the pharmaceutical side, with things like addiction. Sometimes, we need both of those to be helping us.
Yeah. And I think any Reiki practitioner that doesn't say that is misleading you, and it's quite dangerous to do that.
Absolutely.
So sorry, just digressing there. But yeah, so she said that, and I said, look, it's not that. It isn't that. Yeah. So she said, right, do you want to try sertraline? Which is actually, I'm sure it was for OCD at one point. And then they found that it helps with that anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Because I was having quite, the anxiety attacks as well. The low mood, the serotonin in your brain, so the happy hormone in your brain is lacking. Yeah. So I started taking that. I said, but you can't drink on it. And I was like, okay. And I think because I was told by a medical professional. Yeah. I went teetotal for about 12 months. Wow. And I was on the sertraline, and I'm not a pill pusher. I am a holistic practitioner, but I kid you not, it was the best thing I ever did. It was a game changer.
Everybody's journeys is so different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you're so right. I would never say to someone, come off your tablets or, just use the holistic way of life. Sometimes it just goes hand in hand. It's just that support for what you need. I'd actually picked up a prescription linking around mental health just before I went for my first Reiki treatment, and it sat in my car. I'd not opened the bag. I'm not even sure what it was, if I'm honest. I'd gone to the doctors just like that, saying I was really struggling, and they give me a prescription. For me, it stayed in my car, and I didn't actually use it. I wasn't against it. I would have done, but it just sort of, that was part of my journey. It went hand in hand. I'd found the Reiki, and I didn't need to. But I think sometimes, we do. Yeah. Sometimes there's those imbalances.
Oh, there is.
Then we need to.
And it is. And I am convinced mine was a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
And with women, we know all about that.
Yeah, no, we've spoke hormones a bit here, haven't we?
Oh, Lord above.
It needs to be spoke about more, doesn't it?
It does. And I think we need to understand that and be okay with the fact that actually, yes, sometimes we are going to feel shit. Yeah. Sometimes we're going to feel hyper. Sometimes we're going to feel depressed. Sometimes we're going to get so mad and shout at our kids and feel like the worst parent ever. But that's okay.
It is.
It's okay. It's all right.
We're human, aren't we?
We are.
Although we've got the holistic way of life, sometimes it's not always happiness and crystals and meditation. Sometimes we do have the things where hormones get involved. For me, sometimes it's confidence. And I just feel that dip in confidence sometimes around time of the month, different things, sort of a bit like imposter syndrome, sort of worrying about things more than I usually would, rather than feeling calm. So hormones have a lot to answer for.
Well, that surprises me, Annette. I wouldn't have thought that.
Really? No, yeah, sometimes if I'm honest, around hormones and things like that. So like I say, I'm 40 this year. I do think probably there's a few perimenopausal symptoms going on with like memory loss, bits of different things.
Your memory is rubbish.
Yeah, it really is. You're just lucky I turned up today. Could have turned up another day thinking, oh, is it today?
Oh, that's
funny. My memory is pretty shocking. I always say Jamie stole my memory because his memory is absolutely phenomenal. You're saying about only using certain parts of the brain. Sometimes with the wonderful world of autism, there's different parts of the brain we would never sort of open or access. That I know Jamie absolutely does.
Do you think he has sort of like a spiritual, like, really?
There's a few experiences that we've had. I'll share one. We'd gone along to my husband Martin's friend's birthday party. And Jamie was asking everybody about the birthdays and, doing his party piece. He'll ask you for your birthday. You'll tell him, say what day of the week you were born. And he asked this lady who owned the club, and then asked her about her husband, and she said, oh, my husband's died. So Martin just said to Jamie and asked him the question, do you know what her husband's name is? And he put his hand over Jamie's head like that, and Jamie closed his eyes and he just said, John. And the lady's face was like, you could tell, taken aback. And he's done quite a few baby predictions. He'll put the hand on the tummy and he'll close his eyes because he doesn't have the logical side of, is that my mind? Is that spirit? You know, he'll close his eyes. Oh, it's pink. Oh, it's blue. He'll take that first instinct. It's almost like counteracts it with him.
Wow.
He'll just see what he gets and he'll just share it. He's not thinking, oh, is that right? Is that wrong?
But that goes to prove that energy, it's energy.
Yeah.
You know, we are energy. This is my beautiful
absolutely.
plant is energy. Everything has a frequency. Everything has a vibration. And it's I suppose, because he has got a superpower of autism, he can really delve into that.
A little bit more.
Days.
And even sharing Reiki with other people. He'll put his hands on them, close his eyes, and he'll see different colours, the chakra colours. That's something that's happened for a few years. And he had a Reiki treatment himself. I'd booked him in with a lady who was a nurse who used to help children with autism. And I booked him in. He was probably about 8 or 9, and he went along for the treatment, lay on the bed. And when she came to around his heart, she put her hand here, and he had his eyes closed, and he just got his hand and put it on top of hers. And she had tears running down her face. And after the session, he was saying what had happened, and he could see yellow. He could see the chakra colours. So they had this beautiful energetic experience, and it was nice for me. I just sat back and I could see him receiving the Reiki with someone else, which was really lovely. Because it's always just been me that's included it in. So yeah, that's something that's
so
been
nice.
Really
and
nice.
Just touching on the energetical sort of connection that you get with people. I know a lot of people that think, oh, it's just a load of crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
And it won't work for some people. And that's absolutely fine. And going back to the sertraline and things like that, it's not going to work for everybody. A very good friend of mine had an absolute mental crisis when she was on it. And I'm not saying, you know, you've got to do what's for you. But you cannot deny, and this is anybody and everyone, if you walk into a room and you sense something or you see somebody and you feel their energy and you go,
yeah, your stomach might feel a bit sick or juggly. You'll feel it here. Or you might think, oh my God, they feel lovely. Oh, I'll give them a hug. I want to spend time with that person.
Totally. That is just what we developed into the Reiki sessions, the spiritual well-being, the holistic well-being. So, you know, essentially it is for relaxation. Yeah. That's essentially what it's for, isn't it? And I think moving on to another subject of meditation, because that's a massive part of our sort of journey, and we keep saying journey, and
people worry so much about meditation.
They do, you know.
I think I've got to sit here and not think anything at all, and I can't do it. I can't do meditation.
I've got to think of where am I going, everything, and it's just a nightmare. It's actually meditation's amazing, people. You need to try and do it. So the different types of meditation, there are different types of, well, actually there's quite a lot of different types of meditation, isn't there? Yeah. What is your favorite type of meditation?
Okay, so I like guided ones myself. Sometimes people like to listen where there's just music. I like the guided ones where you almost go on a little journey and someone guides you, like a little bit like, you know, being guided into, like, say, at the beach for relaxation, things like that. I listen to them a lot at bedtime. So like guided hypnotherapy, things like that. And quite short ones sometimes I think are good. It may be a 10-minute one about positive affirmations in the morning, like setting yourself up for your day. Just slotting in when you can. Yeah,
I think there is a lot to be said about positive affirmations. And especially with kids as well, actually.
Yeah, all the cards and the things.
Yeah, because I think if you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, you're not going to be bloody good enough.
Yeah.
Change that mindset.
And I've seen them in much more places, things like positive affirmation cards now in like the works. There's some supermarkets that have been doing them. Yeah,
it's becoming more mainstream then, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So instead of saying I cannot or I am not, we change that into I can and I am and I have and I know and I speak the truth.
A lot of them are linked to different chakras. I found something recently and it was like I can, I will, you know, I am.
Yeah. We could do another podcast about chakras, to be honest.
Yeah, I love the affirmations. It can make such a big difference, can't it? Into almost retraining your mind to believe in yourself. There's a lot of people who worry so much, they'll hold themselves back from doing things they want to do, like changing a job role or, you know, making a simple change in their life. They just think, oh, I can't do that, I'm not good enough. Yeah. Or inner child healing, things like that, things we've been told in the past. It just stays with us energetically.
And funny you should say that, because that's exactly what happened to me. I had to look at that little girl that I was and say to her, you know, you're all right. None of this was your fault. It's on outside. It's on them. It's not on you. It's on them. But, and this is a hard pill to swallow, I think, and I did not get this for a very long time. The things that happen to you for a reason. And the reason why I didn't get that for a long time is because there are people out there that have been through horrific trauma. So for me to sit here and go, well, things happen for a reason, it's the idea of that.
A lot of people question that, don't they? Why they're going through experiences.
And what I've sort of, like, correct me, I don't think there's any wrong answer for this, but I think it's the choices that you make after the things have happened to you. Yeah. Where do you go after? Yeah. What choices do you make
experience,
after?
Isn't it?
So the universe will always put you in the same situation again and again and again until you change or break the cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I was doing with my dad and the drinking. I had to break that cycle.
Sometimes it's seeing the truth, isn't it, within ourselves, acknowledging things, realising I'll break that cycle, I'll do things this way and I'll give it a go. Yeah. Rather than staying stuck in repetitive cycles. Yeah. It's, again, being honest. And often sometimes we don't. We don't trust our own instincts, our own intuition. No. What we feel we should be doing. We'll do things that we just go along with to please other people. Yeah. Or stay in that same sort of rut sometimes with day-to-day life.
Because it's easier to do that. And it's scary. Yeah. The unknown is scary, isn't it?
Going to work, coming home, doing the same cycle, not really focusing on how you feel. Yeah. Doing anything for yourself. Like scary. The balance of looking after you. Sometimes we just forget.
We do forget. Yeah. And just harking back to the sort of because it kills me, because we've got kids. We don't want, if God forbid, if anything, thank God the kids are well, thank you, universe and spirit. But it is difficult, I think, when you say those things. So we're going to touch on exploring a spiritual awakening. Now, this is a bit deeper. This is a little bit deeper than what we've done. But I think for me, my experience, my well-being journey as a woman started when a loved one very close to myself and my husband passed away. Yeah. And usually I find the women that I speak to, it's then. Yeah. And you've mentioned grief. We've touched on that quite a bit. And it's because for me, I'm only speaking from my own experience, I was like, wow, life is too short. Yeah. Life is too short.
Yeah. From having their whole physical existence there to just not. Yeah. It's such a difficult journey.
Massively. And like, what is the meaning of life? Yeah. Oh, that was a biggie. Yeah. That was a biggie.
Reasons why.
Reasons
you look at
why.
things, don't you?
Totally. Yeah. And a friend of mine, Cara, she passed away about 35. Bless her. She was a very troubled soul. 35.
So young, isn't it?
Ryan's best friend passed away at about 36, 37. God love him. Tom. And then obviously mother-in-law, your nana, the elders that pass away that have always been there within your life, and then suddenly they're not. And I was like, what the bloody hell am I doing with my life? I want to do something that means something to me. I want to do something.
That shock, doesn't it, of life?
Massive shock.
And I've always thought I would hate to have regrets. You see so many people not doing things that they want to do. Yeah. Life is short. It very much is. It's so different for everybody, isn't it?
It is so different.
From
and
babies to passing away. There's so much.
God, it's horrendous. But I think once you get into that spiritual journey and that spiritual awakening, you really realize that it's a gift. This is a gift. Yeah. We are here and it's a gift. Yeah. And if we don't see it as such, we're going to waste it.
You seek things so much more when you spiritually open up more, don't you? And your whole life changes gradually, so much for the better. But you're seeking answers, you're seeking validation, you're finding out more about what life is about.
And I think you're right. I think it's looking at everything as a whole. For me, that's what spiritual awakening is. It's looking at everything, but starting with you and starting with what's inside here. And then it'll project and it will grow around you. Now, I don't know about you, but I lost a few friends when I started doing this
Oh, that's interesting.
because they didn't understand it.
Right.
They didn't get on board. And you know what? I'm cool with that because I chose not to have that energy in my life.
You do find like people around you do change. Sometimes you get more like-minded friends as well. If it's ever the way where some fall by the wayside, it's making room for more like-minded people.
Massively.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
different experiences.
It is. And that's okay. That's okay that people don't want to join
don't we?
in.
Now you understand people thinking, oh, I know one of my friends said to me, Annette, I'd said something to her like they've told me, and she was like, who told you that? And she just remembers me as Jamie's mum. She's like, I didn't know. You're like, who are you talking to? Who said that to you? Like sometimes they see it as weird, which I completely get. Sometimes, you would joke about mediums. You say daft stuff. Oh yeah, well they'd know you were coming if you'd book an appointment, or Mystic Meg stuff. There's always them jokes, which is one of my nicknames, Mystic Meg. And
so, what do you feel if people are listening now and they think, I'm going through something here and I don't know what it is? What sort of signs did you get? I mean, I know what signs, you've always had signs since you were little, but what sort of signs do you think are like, okay, maybe I'm going through something here?
Yeah, I feel like the signs do repeat. It may be your own intuition that keeps telling you something. I feel like I need to do this. For me, it was like, I feel like I need to learn Reiki. I feel like I want to go to spiritualist church to see what that's about.
Okay.
I almost want to start unearthing things that I've not done before. You may get that feeling of a calling, or the universe may put people in the place there where, for me, I thought to myself, I want to learn Reiki. The next week, my friend put a certificate on Facebook that she'd learned with somebody, and that was my teacher. So sometimes you get them synchronicities. Sometimes it may be like the angel numbers. It might be feathers that you get. It may be a loved one pointing you in that direction for that journey. And I think, the word spiritual awakening, it's different for everybody. For me, literally, it's become my life now. For some people, it might just be that inner journey for them. It might be quite a private journey. It might be something you just want to do at home. Sometimes there's that worry of judgment from family or friends, or you don't want to talk about, your journey. Sometimes people say, don't share that. I've been here today. If you see them at the spiritualist church or, Reiki sessions, things like that. Sometimes the religion sort of is a little bit fuzzy with it. They feel like they shouldn't be. So I say just trust that inner voice.
Especially
allow yourself
for women.
to be guided. There's not a right or a wrong, I don't think.
No.
It might be going to a crystal shop you may not have been and just picking a crystal one day and seeing what you're drawn to. And that crystal will work with you for your healing journey.
Yeah.
It's just unfolding and opening up, I think, and allowing yourself to be honest.
Yeah, with yourself.
With your emotions.
And who you are and what's inside here. Because if it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't bring you happiness, if it doesn't make you feel content and worthy as well, if it doesn't make you feel worthy, don't be bloody doing it. You
realise life is short. I know it's a very common saying, but you realise,
totally,
this is what I want to be doing. This is what makes me feel happy, and it's almost like you cut out what doesn't. You've not got time for that anymore,
and that might be quite hard. Like I mentioned, like friends.
You have to be quite strong within yourself, don't you? With like your boundaries, that's a massive one. I've had to learn those boundaries.
We've got to learn to say no sometimes and protect our own energy.
Yeah,
and I think once you understand and respect yourself,
other people start to, don't they?
They will do it, and they'll stop taking the piss.
Yeah, they see you doing it for you.
Yeah.
And
there's a beautiful man called Reynard Stanjerk, who is like 84-year-old guy in Canada that makes oh my god, he's amazing. Absolutely beautiful. I know we're talking about women in wellness, but he is like my guru. He's like my go-to. Yeah, because he just puts everything into perspective in terms of there was something I wanted to share something on dealing with negative energy, and he was saying something along the lines of, if you are happy and content with who you are, why should somebody come along who doesn't know you rain all that negative energy on you and you take that on board?
Yeah. Everybody will always have an opinion on what you're doing,
won't they? Of course they will. It's a reflection of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
all learning continuously.
He says it in a very better... I share his stuff all the time because I think I can't say it better than that.
Yeah, I love that.
He's amazing. He is just wonderful in the way that he puts
with
it.
Like spirituality or the awakening, there's different people for different people. So you may look at someone and think, oh, I'm really guided to them. You know, I love the way what they share. And I might look and think that doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean one's right or wrong. You know, sometimes we all find our way.
Yeah.
And that is in different ways at different times. There's a lot of comparison sometimes with like the journey of awakening or spirituality, thinking, oh, I need to do it if they're doing that. Or, you know, I find that sometimes, go, but your journey is for you. Like sometimes people might just want to learn Reiki for themselves.
Yes.
You know, it's very unique, and we all are, aren't we? We'll all have our own path to follow, our own journey. Yeah. Even with what truths we believe in. For me, it has to feel right and resonate with me for me to believe in that.
Yeah.
And that's been with like the mediumship unfoldment as well. Like in the way that's right for me and may not be right for someone else.
Yeah, as much as I would love to do that, I know that ain't right for me.
Yeah.
I love, you know, for me, and it is trying new things. And I think a lot of people, if they see you trying new things and different things, think, oh, she's flaky or she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. I'm thinking, hang on a minute. I'm doing exactly what I want to do in my life. And I'm giving everything a go. Yeah. Why not? Why can't we do loads of things?
We're always learning. It doesn't come to a stage with like Reiki or mediumship where, right, I've done that course, now that's it. It's a continual journey of learning and things unfolding.
Well, life's a journey,
doing
isn't
different
it?
courses,
you know?
Yeah. I love the learning side of it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like brought a new lease of life in it to me.
Yeah.
And there are some things that even I'm a bit skeptical about still. And I find that I've got very much a sort of like half the brain is like scientific and wants to proof of everything and this and that. And then the other side is like, oh, spirituality and there's like crystals and all fairy and all that. But I've always been like that. But I tell you what.
I think it very much depends on how people's minds work, like you say.
Totally.
How logic you are and how sort of accepting you are or even resonating with what feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that other side, the you know, the spiritual side just makes me feel like I belong.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for that.
Balance as well. They'll have the, you know, very high powered job, let's say, and the spirituality side at the side. And then need that balance to keep them almost grounded and calm or manifesting. But yet they may be like very focused on the financial side with the business. They both run along together.
And they do. And they work really beautifully
the power
together.
Of the mind.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal when you believe in something. You know, your thought and your mind is so powerful.
But the things like manifesting now is a massive thing. It's like it's everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. And I think a lot of people don't actually know how to use it, which is fine. But I think if you want to manifest something, you've got to truly feel it, like you've already got it.
Yeah, and you've got to believe you deserve it
and
as well.
You've got to believe that you deserve it. You can't just sit there and go, I want £1 million.
Yeah, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire.
Yeah. You know what? If we all did that, we'd all be millionaires. Yeah. But you've and you can't just say it, or you can't just get a card. If we get a card and read the card and go, oh yes, you're going to receive so much abundance, and think, okay, I'm going to receive it and do nothing about it. You've got to act on that. You've got to put the work in. Absolutely. It's not just sitting back and let it come to you. Does it bloody else come easy? No. And I think a lot of people when they see or speak to people and the spirituality and spiritual awakening and all manifesting comes up.
Perfect, does it? It just means you've got tools to deal with if you're having a shit day, if someone's really pissed you off. You know, you return back to center, you return back to calm, you look at it from an overall perspective, from that person's emotions and yours, you know. Yeah. You see it.
And you try, and you've got to change your perspective. Yeah. You've got to, otherwise it'll eat you up inside. Yeah. And that is not good for anybody. Yeah. It really isn't. Yeah. There's if you want to delve deeper into the spiritual awakening, Dolores Cannon. Yeah. Oh, she is something else. She is something else. Dolores Cannon.
And Wayne, is it Dwyer?
Oh yes. Yeah. They are. I mean, some of it is like, woof, you know, but some of it.
Sometimes you hear it at different times, don't you?
You do, but some of it just resonates. Yeah. So if you're going back to like signs and things like that, if you're seeing things or if you're feeling things or you're just feeling out of balance,
even just wanting change, to think, even listening after this day, thinking, you know what, I do really feel fed up with my life, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that person using me like a doormat, I'm unhappy with this. Right, let's start to bring some change in.
And that, don't be scared of the word spiritual awakening or the phrase spiritual awakening, because it doesn't mean hippy dippy witchy stuff. It can do if you want it to do that, but actually it means a change within your inner self, and everybody can do that. And how much of a better world would it be?
Like a journey, isn't it?
It is.
Of like self-care, putting yourself first a little bit, learning, understanding yourself from a better place, being kinder to yourself.
And the world would be a better place if everybody really was centered with themselves and were happy and joyous. And I'm not saying all the time, but
of course.
I mean, come on, you know, what's that? I'm trying to think of the positivity, you know, attracts positivity, negativity attracts negativity. And I think if you're surrounding yourself with negative people in negative situations, you are going to be a negative person. You're not going to get out of that. You need to break the cycle.
Sometimes people have like offices they're working, don't you? There's a lot of negativity and they hate it. You know, certain people, they feel like they can't be around. It's sort of...
How do I get out of that?
Yeah.
It is an energy. It is an energy.
And you do absorb it when you're around different people.
You you do. And we need to sort of try and break that cycle, which is not easy to do.
No, it's not.
But to start with, just start with meditation. It's free. Yeah. Things like that, you know?
Just little bits that you can include in your everyday life. Sending your thoughts out. I always ask my loved ones to help me with things. It can be as simple as there was one time Jamie wanted a crunchy Easter egg and it was lockdown. And I sent a thought to my grandma in spirit, please help me find which shop to go to. So sometimes you can ask for certain things. It doesn't have to be anything.
No. To give it a go, you know. Why not?
I got shown Sainsbury's in my mind off. I went to Sainsbury's, a big crate of the crunchy Easter eggs have just been delivered. So I was like, thanks, Spirit. Sometimes you just get a feeling, if you've lost something, you can't find your keys. Yeah. Spirit or angels, please help me. Please help me find a way to like, you know, do what I want to do. For what I do, of course, I can't afford it at the moment. Please help me find a way for that to come in.
I remember you telling me that about the financial stuff and you wrote down what you needed and you said, right, this is what I need. It's like The Secret. We were talking about
Absolutely.
that. The film and the book. And there's something on, is it
so
Gaia
powerful.
that's on that? Just look it up because it is so powerful.
About working full time, it led me to that. My husband left his job role about 5 years ago and we swapped roles over, and Spirit and the universe have just guided us with that. So it's made me trust so much more really in the synchronicities, in, you know, sending them thoughts out and receiving. But it will only happen, like you say, if it's right for us. Sometimes we might ask for things that might not be. The universe knows, so it'll make you wait longer than what you expect, or it might not happen.
And that's the difficulty that people are like, but I've been asking for this. It's better. It's not the right time, babe.
Yeah.
It ain't the right time, and that's hard.
Something else you have to work on first.
You do, absolutely. And that's really, really difficult. And it's about using techniques and tools. And that's all this is.